Hello dear ELL teaching colleagues. Today's tip is about differentiating text comprehension work for multiple levels of proficiencies. For disclaimer, I will be using a text from my Valentine's Day vocabulary lesson, but any text, absolutely any text with a couple of clear events will work. We started off by reading the text about the origin of Valentine's Day, and I provided a lot of visual support and clarifications. Then I had my students read the text again, but I wrote it in these boxes so that some of my groups can cut them out and use for the graphic organizer work. Everybody was given the same graphic organizer on cause and effect, where I introduce or help remember the concept of cause and effect with a rudimentary kind of sentence, very simple, easy to make connections with. Then students were asked to practice the skill, and now I asked my students to apply this skill using the information from the text here. As you can see here, this same worksheet was marked with different symbols. I got this idea from a differentiation training that I took about 12 to 13 years ago. This is not how they use these symbols, but this is what makes most sense to me. But it also varies from class to class sometimes and group to group. I just try to keep these symbols in mind and in my lesson plan book, so I am very clear and intentional about the tasks I am asking my students to complete. So my star students are the ones who need the most attention. These are my slide students, my fresh newcomers. Then the ones in the middle are circles, so they're coming out of the star level roughly, not always, and slowly will be turning into squares. My squares are the ones who are solid and who are maybe towards the end of intermediate level and closer to being advanced. And then my triangles are the ones who need more of a modified task because they are well above this level or need work on a different skill while working on the same topic. So as you can see here, my star students had to use their boxes with text, and I worked with my star students, my slide students, to help them with this at first. Then we mixed up the papers again and they did it again independently. My square students, which is closer to being advanced, higher intermediate students, worked on this independently without the text because I know they are at that level where they just need to be able to put all of that new information in grammatically correct sentences. I am seeing that there are some things I can work on to help them make these sentences more sophisticated with more detail. Now, my circle students worked on this independently, but they did have this text. They can read this level of text given the decoding lessons I provide daily and the text work that we did together. We read this text a couple of times and clarified with pictures and other things, so they were able to read this text and then to apply this skill towards the text. And now my long-term ELL students, advanced students, this is a high school group. I actually gave them a text on roughly Valentine's Day topic. It was a text about sweetheart candies from Newsella, and I chose the level of their grade level because they are reading at their grade level. They do need learning to pay more attention to the text, and I do like how Newsella always provides questions, and these questions mimic the state test and language arts kind of work and social studies work. So this was ideal. They worked on this text, and then after they read this text, I had them summarize it in 5 sentences and share the information with the rest of the groups, so these groups can also learn something new while working on this worksheet. All right, I'll finish this now so this tip is not too long.